I get asked a lot of questions. Is that your real voice? How many black shirts do you own? Where do babies come from? Yes, on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube comments, people always asking me stuff. So I figured, Q and Andrew, you ask me questions, I'll give you some answers. I don't have to script it, don't have to memorize the script, don't even have to come up with the subject. You ask me stuff and I'll answer. So, welcome to the inaugural episode of Q and Andrew. Also, possibly the last episode, because you never know how these things are going to go. What is your favorite video game of all time? Until I was asked that, I didn't realize I did not have a standard go-to answer for that. I have one for movies, Ghostbusters. That's my favorite film of all time. But while I could rattle off a list of games I love, I don't have that, or I didn't have that go-to, this is my favorite video game of all time, so I had to really think about that one. And I did. And I have come up with what I consider my favorite video game of all time. Dragon Warrior 4. I know, that was me. This is a fun game too, but Dragon Warrior 4. I'm picking that for my favorite video game of all time, and for a couple of reasons. I'm a big fan of RPGs, love a lot of genres, but RPGs is right up there. And the Dragon Warrior, Dragon Quest series is my absolute favorite series of RPGs. It also has a special meaning to me because I played video games with my mom growing up, and we really love the Dragon Warrior series. And Mom, while she plays video games and still does today, in fact, I think she just beat Bowser's Inside Story, she doesn't have the manual dexterity for action platformers or fighters or games like that, but turn-based RPGs, point-and-click adventure games, puzzle games, oh yeah, absolutely. So Dragon Warrior was a series of games that Mom and I could truly play together, rather than I play and she just watch. I could totally hand off the controller to her and she'd take over. In fact, she would constantly play the games while I was at school. And I said, now, Mom, kindly don't go anywhere new or advance the story. And she's, no, I'm just going to grind. And she'd wander around in the woods, beating the crap out of slimes, leveling up. Why Dragon Warrior 4? Dragon Warrior 4 has a really interesting setup. It's broken up into 5 chapters. That may actually depend on which version of the game you're talking about, but the NES version that we played was 5 chapters. And in the first chapter you play as Ragnar, I think, the Knight of Burland? Something like that. Knight of some castle place. And the king's like, the children have been kidnapped or something, go get them. And so you go off on a quest to retrieve the lost children, or the king's daughter, or whoever the heck got kidnapped. And in chapter 2 you play another character, or I think a princess someone. And in the third chapter you play yet another character, Talon, I think his name was, a guy who wants to run his own item shop, and you go plunder caves and stuff to get materials to stock your item shop. And then you get into chapter 4 and you play more characters. You play 2 sisters, a fortune teller and a dancer, who go off on their own quest, and they actually, I think they run into Ragnar and they run into Talon's item shop, and they have their own story. And then the 5th chapter starts, and that you finally get to the hero, the main protagonist of the game, and all of the characters that you've built up and learnt about from the first 4 chapters of the game, they all come together and become one party to fight the big evil that's threatening the land. And that approach was just so cool and so much fun. It really gave meaning to the people that eventually joined your party, because rather than just, oh, I ran into the the princess person who shirked her princessy responsibilities to go live a life of adventure, and now she's joined your party, and you're like, yay. But you went through her entire story, so you know exactly who she is and where she's coming from and where she wants to go. So it makes the adoption of each party member that much more meaningful, and you care about all the characters. It's really a lot of fun. I've got mail. So, favorite video game of all time, Dragon Warrior 4. So, that's it for the first episode. If you want to see more, I'll make more. Ask me your questions in the comments. You can follow me on Twitter at Andrew Eisen and ask him there. I even have a Facebook fan page. You can go to Facebook and type in Andrew Eisen YouTube and ask me questions on there. And depending on how many questions will I answer per episode, it depends on how long the answer is. If you ask me stuff like my shoe size, I'll probably answer more than one question. Otherwise, it's going to be a 5-second video. That's it. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Brush your teeth. Eat your vegetables. Go to school. But not college. It's a waste of time. Never listen to my advice. Don't ask me dating advice. Well, you can ask me dating advice, and I'll answer it, but I would suggest you don't follow it. I'm single for a reason.